All right, let's get your business news now with Rupiwa Madena. Rupiwa, really looking forward to this interview. You're going to be speaking to Gidon Novick, and that's because of his surprise move to resign from the board of the Takatso consortium, which of course is central to the SAA's revival.
That's right, Stella, and that's a big question. What will happen to SAA with this decision? But yes, in an unexpected move, Gidon Novick, a director of the Takatso consortium, has resigned upon leaving SAA's chosen partner. Novick cited a lack of communication and challenges around raising capital to complete the deal. So what now? Well, to answer that question and more is the man himself, Gidon Novick. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. And I suppose many are wondering, if there is an issue around raising capital to complete the deal for SAA, on what basis had you all approached SAA in the beginning?
Hi, Rupiwa. Thanks for having me on the show. To be honest with you, I'm not even clear whether capital has been raised or not raised. My real issue as a director of the consortium is that I don't have access to the information. I don't have clarity on the progress of the deal, the progress of the capital raising, any impediments that may prevent the deal from happening, our particular role in the deal. Remember, we came on as industry experts, technical partners, and there's no clarity in terms of the role that we would play in the future. So it's really just comes down to, as a director of a company, you need to know what's going on and you need to have access to information.
It's interesting that mandate you were given by everybody involved when you came on, because Takatso has since released its own media release, and they said that they're citing a conflict of interest, conflict of interest, given that you are the co-founder of Lyft, and that the reason that they are so sensitive with some of this information is because of your linkage to Lyft. What do you say to that? Because they knew from the beginning that you were a co-founder.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, Lyft was up and running when we started talking. We certainly wouldn't want to see any confidential information around SAA. We've never requested that, and we wouldn't want to see that. But I think just information around the consortium itself, the progress of the deal, that's really essential as a director of the company.
So from what you know then, Gidon, how far are we with the progress of this deal, just with the information that you have had thus far?
Well, I think, it's funny that you asked that question, because journalists have been, asking me questions pretty much over the last year, what's happening with the transaction, and embarrassingly, I've actually not been able to provide any information other than what I consume in the press. So that's really the heart of the issue. One can't comfortably be a director of a company if you don't have access to information and if you don't know what's going on.
Is this not concerning, Gidon? Does this mean any work has been done at all regarding this particular transaction if vital information around it is not being shared? Because I think what we all know from the media, in fact, is that the transaction now sits at competition authorities, and that's it. But the fact that you don't know very much, does that mean that not much work has been done at all?
That might be a little bit unfair. I think a lot of work has been done. I mean, we've certainly observed, through the stories that you would have seen and covered, that there is work that's been done, and we know that it's sitting with the Competitions Commission at the moment. So, I think the team have been doing work, and maybe even good work. But, we sit as minority partners to the consortium. We are a competitor airline, but we've seen great opportunity in that. We're a competitor airline that is operating, is doing well, and we see great opportunity to cooperate with SAA. We see great opportunity for SAA in the region, within the African continent. So, we've still got, very optimistic perspectives on the potential of SAA and the potential of an experienced team to running SAA. So, we're still here. We want to help. We want to get involved. But we can't be involved in an environment where we have no access to information.
Yeah, and I mean, how much communication did you have with everybody involved around that? Because they do concede in the statement that there were Lyft was pursuing different business opportunities with SAA, and as you've just indicated, that would have added to the growth of the airline. So when you communicated your concerns and the potential that the partnership would have had, what was the kind of response that you got?
Well, airlines cooperate with each other. I mean, on a daily basis, if we have an issue and we need a spare aircraft, we've worked extremely well with SAA and vice versa. So, airlines naturally work together, particularly two smaller airlines in the context of this local market. So those have been the conversations. And, as I say, we still really would love to get involved to help. We've got an incredible team. South Africa's got, the most spectacular aviation talent, all the way from the leadership teams to the cabin crew and airport staff, etc. So, we're optimistic about doing something, but, not in the current context of being a director of the company without knowing what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Now, with the lack of your technical skills within the board of directors and you no longer being a director there, are you still confident that the transaction will go through in its entirety and you will see some form of success come of SAA after the transaction, should it go through?
I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea what the, obviously it's been already, getting on to 2 years since we announced the transaction. So a lot of time has passed, obviously, and, probably, you would expect to hear this from me, but, an airline is a very, very difficult business to run. It's complex. There's huge aspects of risk that have to be managed on a daily basis. It's a customer service business, so one has to have an incredible culture to deliver customer service. So, all those components need to come together to create a successful airline. And then, of course, capital. It's a capital-hungry airline, so one has to raise the necessary capital in order to roll out the business plan.
Mm-hmm. And then should Takatso consortium approach you once again to perhaps be part of the finality of the new SAA as it is envisioned, would you go back? And apart from the communication, what else would they need for you to put on the table for you to consider being a part of the team that takes a new revitalized SAA back to air?
Yeah. Well, I mean, firstly, we are still shareholders in the consortium and will certainly remain as shareholders. And as shareholders, we'll continue to request information as shareholders in terms of what's going on. In terms of our involvement, we've got a completely open mind. We've got a first-class management team that's currently doing a phenomenal job with Lyft. Certainly has capacity beyond that to help build a national carrier that South Africans would be proud of. And that's really was my motivation in getting involved in the first place. South Africa needs strong success, case studies of success, and particularly success in the context of government and the private sector working together. And that's really what was the driving factor and continues to be the driving factor for us to put up our hand and say, we're ready to help.
Mm-hmm. We have run out of time, Gidon, but I must just get some clarity from you. As a shareholder, were you getting any more information than you were as a director?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time this evening, Gidon Novick, giving us the reasons that he has left as director of Takatso Consortium.